Let's talk about breathing today. I can hear you shouting at me.
I know how to breathe, coach.
Well, because it's involuntary, meaning you don't have to think about it, means you don't care about it. Can I train my breathing? Yes, you can train your breathing. In this video, I'm going to give you 3 steps that are really helpful to develop your breathing, develop your control, and teach you that your breathing is actually a cycling computer if you listen to the data that it's giving you. Hey, thanks for joining me on this video. If you're new to the channel, I'm Coach Scott. I've been working for over 30 years in the cycling and bike fitting industry. So at 54 now, I'm older than the average bear, so I've got more to share. So yeah, I can upload videos 2-3 times a week. So if that's something that you enjoy and you like what you see here, click that subscribe button. And you can join in the journey with me and everybody else. So breathing, coach, okay? You talk about breathing as a cycling computer, right? Okay, well, first of all, before I give you the 3 tips, understand that breathing moves from VT1 to VT2, ventilatory threshold. You probably know that already. The name threshold then suggests there's a crossover point, and there is. And where a lot of cyclists go wrong is they're training for their ego and not for feel. And your breathing is a wonderful gauge of what intensity you're in. So you got to understand VT1, VT2, let's call it zone 2, moving into zone 3, 4, 5. Yeah, it's that simple. So as soon as you cross over, your brain's detecting there's more carbon dioxide in the system. Therefore, you breathe deeper, faster to get more oxygen in and get rid of that carbon dioxide. So at VT1, what's going on with the mitochondrial, coach? Well, they are getting a bloody great workout. Okay, they are cruising. They're loving it because they're using fat for fuel as much as they can. In many cases, that's about 50%. Now, this is great for the mitochondria because it makes them more efficient, it makes them stronger, it makes them sexier. They start to grow, they start to multiply. You get this bigger mitochondrial density at this level. And this becomes invaluable for your cardiovascular fitness and the clearance of lactic acid when you start to work harder. So you got to understand that this control is good. And even though your ego's shouting at you, go faster, you fanny, you got to get control. Okay, so let's dial into it. Point number 1. What I want you to understand is you're breathing actually as a skill. How do you breathe? Do you breathe through your mouth, breathe through your nose, or a bit of both? Because you ain't breathing through your ears, and although you feel as if you're breathing through your arse when you're going up a hill in a club ride, you're not, right? So the first thing I want you to do is to start breathing through your nose. Almost like belly breathing. Yes, belly exercises that you don't need a 6-pack for. By breathing in through your nose, we're going to increase our lung capacity. You've got a diaphragm muscle. It sits like a cone when we breathe out. When we breathe in, it flattens. Out, flattens. Now what we've got to do is try and get as much air in as possible. So by breathing through your nose, although if you're my age, you've got more hairs growing out your nose than you've got on your head, you're filtering the air. You're cleaning it. You're also warming it up. I live in Scotland, so the difference in temperature between the atmosphere, air, and my belly is about 100 degrees. Also, you're getting more in. Now, I'm not talking about you've got a bigger nose than me or a smaller nose. Nothing to do with the size of your conch, right? It's just because of the way the airways work. You're getting more in. But it's a little bit harder to do for many people because you're not used to it. So, tip 1, on your bike for your warm-up at least, start breathing through your nose, okay? Start breathing through your nose and filling up your lungs with that beautiful air, and then breathe out and start to be more controlled. This will allow you to develop a healthier breathing strategy when we're out on our bike, because nose breathing can be done by elite riders at zone 2. As soon as they start to breathe through their mouth, they're panicking and they're gasping, because guess what happens between VT1 and VT2? Your nervous system changes. You're going really dialing into that fight or flight because big efforts are coming and you're starting to panic and you're starting to get ready. Now that's okay if that is the output that you're desiring from your training session. But if you're doing zone 1 and zone 2, that's not what you want. So switch off the ego and switch on the breathing. Start to practice it every week. See how far you can go on your local ride. See if you can go up those hills that you're normally trying to go up faster than Bob did yesterday because Strava told you. Now, point 2 is all to do with how your breathing is like a cycling computer. As soon as your breathing then goes into a Springer Spaniel chasing some other dog's tennis ball, because it never chases its own, and you're gasping for air, you're in zone 3, you're in zone 4, so it's gone. Oh, but it's okay, coach, I can do it for a little while where I'm on this loop because there's a couple of hills. No. Try and stay out of it. Work on that nasal breathing, that deep breathing in control, but just use the classic examples of how to stay in zone. Talking. If you can hold the conversation, you're in zone 2. Okay? I've got nobody to talk to, coach. Well, sing. Sing in your head. Talk out loud, just to yourself every so often. Just have a little conversation. What do you see? Nobody's going to be paying any attention to you if you're on your own, but you've got to dial in that control, because soon as you're gasping, nervous system's changing. You're starting to use 100% carbohydrates for fuel. Mitochondrial's job is now different. Carbohydrate usage releases lactate, great as a fuel. Hydrogen ions are building up. Carbon dioxide's building up. It's getting a different workout, and it's a harder workout for it. And therefore, it's not the output that you're looking for that workout. Okay, so you've got to switch off the ego, dial in, and start using the signals that your breathing is giving you. And stop this pissy, shallow breathing. Right, come on. You're better than that, aren't you? Through your nose, out through your mouth, okay? Just regain the control. The training is so much more happier and more enjoyable if you've got that level of control. Now, point 3 is actually about training at harder levels. It's about zone 4, zone 5, and what your breathing does then, because a lot of people start to panic. And this is when they start bringing out that shallow breathing, okay? That's doing you no good, because you're not getting rid of the carbon dioxide, and you're certainly not getting any more air in. I often say to people, when you're in a point of recovery, almost treat breathing like an all-day free buffet. Take in as much as you can. Try and get it in through your nose. Try and recover, but try and relax. So when you're doing a harder effort, try and dial in to the effort. Feel it. Okay, become one with it. I know I'm sounding like a little bit like Yoda, but you've got to come into the effort and allow your breathing, okay, to be rhythmic with the pedaling, okay? And really try and dial into it, because that effort will come to an end at some point and you'll still be hanging on, you'll still be there. But if you shallow breathe, there's nothing coming in, so therefore the fuel supplies will decrease. You'll start panicking, so don't panic. Fucking breathe. Okay, 3 easy points that you can follow, and honestly, if you just dial into the nasal breathing alone, you're going to see great gains. Now, I've been working on concepts of breathing since the 1980s. I've had riders using straws, mouthpieces, exercises to improve their intercostal muscles. If you want more of this content, there's a link in the description that's going to take you to a pre-launch of my book. Something I've been writing since 2021, where I go into content in a lot more detail. Now, this book is going to be given away to the first 5,000 people that hit that link, because trust me, it's going to change your life. It's going to change the way you look at cycling, and it's going to change the way you look at life, because I've got some incredible stories to share with you. Hey, anyway, you keep smiling, keep spinning, and please keep breathing.